In the city of New York, there were frequent bank robberies, and the police had no leads on the thieves. They called Mehul from Los Angeles for help. As soon as Mehul arrives, he reviews all the robbery reports. The first robbery happened at bank number 8, the second at bank number 27, and the third at bank number 64. After seeing the reports, Mehul quickly understands where the next robbery is likely to occur. Can you figure it out, logical army? Quickly comment your answer. If you thought the answer is 125, let me know by subscribing. 2 cubed is 8. 3 cubed is 27. 4 cubed is 64. Basically, it's a number sequence. So, the next sequence would be 5 cubed, which is 125. That means bank number 125. Mehul arrives there in advance and catches the thieves red-handed as soon as he arrived. Let's move on to the next puzzle. One night, Robert gets murdered. Robert's servant calls Detective Mehul and tells him, "I had gone home last night, and when I came in the morning, I saw that Robert Sir had been murdered." Mehul discovers that someone who was partying with Robert last night is the murderer. He finds a red-colored cloth in Robert's hand, which might belong to the murderer. Mehul also finds Robert's phone, and with that Mehul comes to know Robert talked to his 3 friends last night, Peter, Victor, and Sarah. Mehul goes to each person's house to interrogate them.
I was out of town for 2 days. I just came back today.
I was at a party with a friend, not with Robert.
Sir, see, my leg is hurt, and I haven't even gone out of the house for a week.
After listening to their statements and inspecting their houses, Mehul understands who is lying. Did you understand? Comment your answer. The murderer is Sarah because she told Detective Mehul that she hadn't gone out for a week. If she hadn't gone out, then why was there mud on her sandals and the same dress on her bed, whose piece Mehul had found at the crime scene? And look, the dress is also torn. This means Sarah is the murderer. Mehul catches her. Let's see the next puzzle. A 5,000-year-old mummy's ring was displayed in the museum, attracting many visitors. Suddenly, the ring was stolen. Without wasting any time, the museum manager called Detective Mehul and instructed everyone to stay inside the museum. Mehul asks the guard and the manager,
"Do you suspect anyone?"
The guard says,
"I didn't see any suspicious person entering the museum."
Sir, I don't know who the thief is or how the theft happened.
Mehul watches all the footage and realizes that the thief is still inside the museum. By watching the footage, Mehul understands who the thief is. Can you figure it out? In the footage, an old woman is seen, but she is not among the current museum visitors. How is that possible when no one has left the museum? This means the old woman must have changed her appearance. Now, look at the heels of that old woman, they match the heels of this young woman. Mehul approaches her. Seeing Mehul coming towards her, the young woman panics and runs out of the museum. As she runs, her laptop bag falls to the ground. Mehul picks up the laptop from her bag and opens it. It's locked and requires a code to unlock. If Z equals 1 and Y equals 2, then what is the value of A plus B? Comment your answer. Mehul thinks for a moment and realizes the values of the alphabets are in reverse order. So, A would be 26 and B would be 25. And 26 plus 25 equals 51. Mehul presses 51 and the laptop unlocks. The laptop had her house location marked. Mehul immediately goes to that location and finds the young woman there. Mehul catches her. Let's move on to the next puzzle. Aman, Mike, Tom, and David are all friends. After a party, they each go to their own homes. The next day, David discovers that Mike has been murdered and immediately calls Mehul for help. Mehul thoroughly examines the crime scene and finds a piece of paper with an alphabet letter and some numbers written on it. Mehul is puzzled by this, so he questions all of Mike's friends.
What were you all doing after the party?
I went home and fell asleep because I was tired.
I went to another party.
I don't know anything. I also went home and slept.
Mehul listens to them and tries to understand the clue written on the paper. He quickly figures out who the murderer is. Mike was trying to reveal the killer's name with the clue on the paper. Observe it carefully. The name of the killer is written in coded letters on the paper. The first letter is A, followed by the number 13. The 13th letter of the alphabet is M. The letter A is the first, and N is the 14th. So, it spells Aman. Before dying, Mike wrote the name Aman in coded letters on the paper. Mehul arrests Aman and puts him in jail. Let's move on to the next puzzle. At John's house, his valuable diamond watch is stolen. John immediately calls Detective Mehul for investigation. 5 people live in John's house: John's wife, Emily, his servant, Robert, his cook, Patrick, his daughter, Sarah, and his son, Michael. Mehul questions everyone in the house.
What were you all doing at the time of the theft?
I was taking a hot shower. I just got out, and I don't know who stole the watch.
Sir, I was doing household chores. I didn't see anyone steal the watch. I don't know anything.
Sir, I was cooking food for Madam.
Sir, I was tired after coming home, so I was resting in my room. I was hungry and asked Patrick to cook something for me.
Sir, I was busy in a meeting on my laptop.
Mehul listens to everyone's statements and checks their rooms to verify their claims. First, he goes to the bathroom, then to Sarah's room, then to Michael's room, and finally to the kitchen. After thoroughly inspecting the house, he understands who is lying. Emily said she was taking a hot shower. When you take a hot shower, steam fogs up the mirror, but look at the bathroom mirror, there's no steam at all, and the bathroom is completely dry. So, she wasn't taking a shower. Emily is lying. Mehul catches her. Let's move on to the next puzzle. One day, a murder happens in a colony, and the residents call Mehul. When Mehul arrives, he finds that an 80-year-old woman has been murdered. Mehul starts questioning the colony residents. The first neighbor, Thomas, says,
Sir, I don't know anything. I didn't even know her well.
The second neighbor, Michael, says,
Sir, I was at my job. I don't know anything about this.
The third neighbor, Andrew, says,
Sir, I just turned 20 yesterday and was partying with my friends. I have no idea about this.
Mehul gathers some crucial evidence from the residents and leaves to investigate further. The next day, Mehul gets a call about another murder. This time a 60-year-old man has been murdered. Before Mehul can reach the colony, he gets to know that another person has been killed, a 40-year-old man. Mehul carefully examines all the evidence and deduces who the next victim will be. Can you figure out who the next victim will be, Logical Army? Mehul tries to understand the pattern of the murders. First, an 80-year-old, then a 60-year-old, and then a 40-year-old. He realizes the next victim will be a 20-year-old. The third neighbor, Andrew, had mentioned that he had just turned 20 yesterday. Mehul quickly goes to Andrew's house, and soon, the killer also arrives. Mehul catches the killer. Let's look at the next puzzle. 5 friends went camping in the mountains, and when setting up their tent, suddenly a masked man attacked Ryan. Ryan somehow saved his life and started shouting. Hearing the noise, his friends rushed over. Ryan immediately called Detective Mehul and explained everything. Mehul questioned the other 4 friends.
Where were you all when Ryan was attacked?
Sir, I went to the car to get some matches. Look, here are the matches.
Sir, I went to get water for cooking, and when I heard Ryan's voice, I ran back quickly.
I went to get some firewood, and I didn't see anyone around here.
I was looking for fruits to eat. I just heard Ryan scream, didn't see anything.
Mehul listens to everyone and checks the places they mentioned. First, he goes near the car, then to the river, then near the trees, and finally near the fruit trees. After this, Mehul carefully observes all 4 of them and understands who is lying. Can you figure it out, Logical Army? Look closely at all 4. Jake went to get water, so his pants are wet at the bottom. Victor has small pieces of wood stuck to his clothes. Rob has fruit juice stains on his clothes. But Adam said he went to the car to get matches. However, the car is parked in a muddy area. This means his shoes should have mud on them, but his white shoes are completely clean. This means he is lying. Mehul arrests him. Let's move on to the next puzzle. One day, Ria is murdered, and her body is found in the storeroom of her house, where there are many spider webs and dust. Her husband, John, calls Alia and asks her to come to the crime scene. Alia arrives promptly. Alia carefully examines the scene. Alia questions 3 people: Ria's stepson, Alex, the maid, Cindy, and her husband, John.
Where were you all when Ria was murdered?
I was having my meal.
I was studying.
I was doing household chores.
Alia looks at the crime scene photos and understands who the killer is. Can you figure it out, logical army? Pay close attention to the crime scene photos. There are spider webs and dust on Ria's body, and the storeroom is in a very messy condition. And whoever went into the storeroom, their clothes would also be dirty. Look at Cindy's clothes, there are spider webs and dust on them too. It means Cindy was in the storeroom. She is lying. Alia arrests Cindy. Let's move on to the next puzzle. Natalie was leaving her home at 7 a.m. for college when a van attempted to kidnap her on the way. She managed to escape and went straight to Detective Mayhul for help.
Natalie, do you have any enemies who could do something like this?
There's no one like that, but I had a fight with 3 classmates at college a few days ago.
Mayhul accompanies Natalie to her college and talks to these 3 classmates.
What were you all doing this morning?
Sir, I have a computer class in the morning, then I came straight to college.
Sir, I directly came to college in the morning. Please don't involve me in any crime. Why would I kidnap someone?
Sir, I went to the park in the morning, did some jogging, and then came home to get ready for college.
Mayhul listens to their answers and understands who attempted to kidnap Natalie. Can you figure it out, logical army? Mayhul asked a simple question: what were they doing in the morning? Luna and Nathan gave straightforward answers without mentioning anything about kidnapping. But Sarah mentioned kidnapping. How did she know that someone tried to kidnap Natalie? It means she either involved with the kidnapper or attempted the kidnapping herself. Mayhul arrests Sarah. Let's move on to the next puzzle. James comes home from the office and sees that someone has murdered his wife. James immediately starts shouting, and 2 of his neighbors, Jack and Emily, come over. Emily quickly calls Detective Mayhul.
When did all this happen?
I don't know, sir. We only found out when James started shouting that someone had broken into their house and killed his wife.
Yes, sir. We only found out when we heard James' voice.
How did the thief get in? Was the door open?
No, I used my key to open the door, sir. The thief must have broken in through our glass window.
Mayhul examines the broken window carefully and realizes who the killer is. Can you figure it out by looking at the window? Mayhul understands that James is the murderer because the glass shards from the broken window are not inside. They are outside. How is that possible? If someone had broken the window from the outside, the glass shards would be inside. It means the glass was broken from the inside. James killed his wife and tried to stage it as a robbery. Mayhul's cleverness caught him. To increase your cleverness along with Mayhul's, quickly subscribe to the channel. Let's move on to the next puzzle. A film screening is taking place when suddenly, a scream is heard, alerting everyone that the film's heroine has been murdered in the washroom. The film's actor immediately calls Mayhul for help and says him to come to the crime scene. Mayhul carefully examines the crime scene where he finds the heroine's broken watch, which had stopped at 11:20.
This means the murder happened around 11:20. There must have been a fight, and that moment the watch fall and break.
Mayhul comes outside and questions everyone.
What were you all doing between 11 to 11:30?
Sir, I was on the phone with my wife. Look, here are the call details.
Sir, I was coming in a cab with my girlfriend. Here's the cab receipt.
Sir, I was at the party, but I don't know anything.
Sir, I was taking pictures of everyone. Here, look at the pictures I took during that time.
Mayhul cross-checks everyone's statements and figures out who the murderer is. Can you figure it out? When Mayhul looks at the picture clicked by the writer, it shows the heroine, the hero, and the director. But how is that possible when the hero said he was in a cab with his girlfriend at that time? This means the picture is edited. Mayhul arrests the writer. Let's move on to the next puzzle.